As a small biz pro, and so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Oh yeah, I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal. Glad
and
to be here
and
another week.
Coach Gilbert Buchanan, your small business paramedic. Folks, today we're going to have an amazing show. We're going to talk about, tell them, co-host.
Well, we're going to talk about a couple things. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world. And I think it's very, very important that we actually are having these conversations, because I think people really need to understand what is going on, and how it affects how it affects us in the United States, and how it affects the minority groups in the United States, and most importantly, how does it affect our economy,
our ability to grow?
Right, and our ability to grow, but most importantly, we appear to be in the thralls of a potential recession or inflation, and quite a bit of it has been manufactured. So we felt that it's necessary that we all talk about it, just like we did back when in 2020, when we found ourselves in the midst of the pandemic, and we had to have these conversations on what that meant to us as business owners, and especially for the small business owner, the minority business owner. We cannot be, we can't have our head in the sand, man. We have to know exactly what we need to do in order to survive during this time. And there is a survival, but you just can't be sitting here thinking that it's all going to take care of itself, because that's truly not the case. So that's what we're going to talk about there. But before we do that, Gilbert, we're going to do our little crosstalk, but I do think I want to lead out with that report that I found on the Pew report, because I think it's one of the most promising reports that I've ever read about us as Black people in this country. And I want to share that with people. And I think it's necessary, because so many times we read stuff about us, and it is not very flattering. But we've been doing some movement and some growth since 2000, and on through to 2023, which is important, because 2024 were 4 lost years, I think, in America when it came to us. And I think it's really important that people know that we're not doing as bad as we thought. That's what I'm thinking.
So you're saying, co-host, that the chickens are coming home to roost?
I think so. The chickens are coming home to roost, or at least at this point, the information is coming out more to the positive. Now, not to tell you what's going to happen later on in life, but right now it's more to the positive of us being a viable entity in this country. And one of the things, whether it's good or bad, you know how I'm always talking about that the black uh, 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 the Black person in this country, we're more a consumer than we are an investor, and and we're gonna look at this two ways. So yes, we are in a consumer, and we definitely trying to change that. But however, at one point, it had been riding at $1.3 trillion that we spend in this country, right? And so now I just recently saw the Pew Research report, and we have managed to become $2 trillion consumers. But what that says is, on the positive side of that is, we obviously are making money. In order to spend $2 trillion, we are obviously making money. Now we just have to make sure those dollars are being spent within our community, supporting our small business community, and making sure those dollars recycle. That I would like to see. But I'm actually kind of thrilled That because if you're making money, you got to be if you're spending money, you obviously got to be making it somewhere, right? Nobody's giving it to you.
So you know what that means if our spending power is 2 trillion,
Uh huh.
that means we are equivalent to 48.7% of the state of California's GDP, annual GDP. Because the state of California's annual GDP is 4.10 trillion.
Yes, making California the fourth largest GDP in the world. We are between it's first China. No, it's the United
So
States.
we're in fourth position, right?
We're
Fourth
in fourth
largest
position. Yeah,
in
fourth
in the
largest
world.
GDP. That's just the state. Now we ain't talking about the state of California. I mean the country. The state of California is the fourth largest GDP in the world, behind in between Germany and Japan.
That is amazing. That is amazing because last year we were in the fifth position. We were the fifth largest, and as of today,
Yes.
we're the fourth largest economy
Yes.
in the world,
Exactly. So that
which is
gives
amazing. So
isn't that
California
amazing?
is more powerful than people think it is. Some people think it's just a state full of liberals, but there's more to it than what they think, you know. We're the fourth
Exactly.
largest GDP in the world. That means people want to do business with us. The revenues we're bringing in is huge. You know, it
Yes.
surpasses many other countries. You know, like Japan now, India, and many others. So
Mhm.
guys, if you're an entrepreneur out there, you want to start thinking, you know, you're located in the fourth largest economy in the world. How can you help to make it better? How can you enhance what's going on here? And how can you help to increase the revenue stream that's coming in here in the state of California?
And I think that gives recently Governor Gavin Newsom he had told the president, the administration that, dude, look, we supporting the rest of the country, and we can always just pull away. And obviously we are a small country.
Yeah.
When you could a small country of 10 million people, because I think that's how many people are here
No, no,
in
we're 40 million in the state of California.
okay,
40
so
million.
40 million, which eventually grew because many people were saying that California were losing people, but obviously not. I
Yeah.
think I noticed a number of people coming back to California because there are some benefits for being here. Yeah, we have high rent and those things, but yeah, I think if you look at
Well, New
comparatively,
York has high rent too.
New York has high rent. Chicago has any metropolitan city has high rent. That's just the bottom line of it, right? So, because there are a lot of big salaries that are happening in these cities, and so it's all relative, I believe, to what's happening in the state. So yeah, so Governor Newsom has some bragging rights, and when Trump was talking about he wasn't going to do this and this and for California, he said it's all right. We can take care of our own. What we will do is keep our own tax revenues back here in our own country, in our own state, and then what we'll do is you will take care, however, those states that our money was caring for, they will have to figure out how to take care of themselves, which is the southern states. Most of the southern states are being taken care of by our tax dollars. So, hey,
It's like it's like a parent with some kids, and they're taking care of some kids that they're not bringing back in the family, man. They're just sucking all the resources away. That's what all those other states are to California and the US, right?
right. Fernando
Because
says, I love LA. I tell you, Fernando, when people ask me where else would I, especially in this climate, where else would I live? I would live nowhere else but right here in California. I'll deal with the high rents. I'll deal with with the earthquakes every now and then, I'm sorry, I just can't be living with folks that are nuts.
I must say this though. I must say this, co-host. I'm a transplant. I came here from somewhere else, right? And,
Hmm.
and I must say that because the statistic here in California is that when you are well in Los Angeles, is
Hmm.
that when you are a transplant and you come to this area, you usually spend about 10 years here and then you move away to some other state, some other location. You may not move back to your hometown because you left it for a reason to come here, but you
Right,
may move to another state, another city, and have your new residence there. But ever since I came here, even though the price of things are expensive, I never had that desire to monkey branch, to leave and go somewhere else and then somewhere else. I never. I came here and I said, you know what? Cost of living is high because I told you I bought a two-family home in upstate New York,
yeah,
3 bedrooms in each unit, 2 baths in each unit.
right,
I paid
right,
$54,000 for that. 54.
right.
I came here, I see a little 1 bedroom, a little 2 bedroom house for like 300 something thousand. I'm going, what? But you know what? I grow to embrace it and I grow to appreciate it. So there's no way I'm leaving this California to go somewhere else thinking that, hey, life is going to be better there. Being the
No,
fourth largest economy in the world, we're competing with other countries
I was gonna
here in
say other
California.
countries. Now, I'm an implant as well. I'm from New York, upstate New York, Buffalo to be specific. And
Uh-huh.
so, if anyone has been in that area, just like you in Binghamton, it's cold as heck
Yep.
in the winter. And as I was growing up, a fantastic place to be born and to grow up and to
And then
establish
leave.
your roots. And so I am who I am because that's where I came from, really, up north, upstate New York. But however, Edward said, "Yeah, let's take it, let's go." Yeah,
That's
fourth
right,
largest man.
Edward. That's right, man. Let's
So
go,
I'm gonna
baby.
go to governor. I'm gonna write to Governor Newsom like, man, let's become our own country. We can either become part. We can be our own country, or as Canada says, we'd love to have your GDP.
Oh man, I
But
tell you, man, California, and there's still parts of California that's still not inhabited. It's just bare, it's there, it's just land.
right,
It still needs
just
to be
land.
developed. So if the government want to pump some money into those areas, you got the desert, high
Right,
desert, you got
exactly.
other
You can
areas.
go up to the high desert if you
Yeah,
want
the
to.
Lancaster area. There's a lot of land out there that still can be developed. So we got a lot of space for a lot of folks. So if you're from another state and you want to move here to California to help our GDP and our revenue streams, guys, come on down. We welcome you with open arms because
But
they
do not
they welcomed me when I came.
when they came, but do not bring your Southern mentality nor your Midwest mentality with you. You got to be able to come and flow with us, man, because we can't be dealing with that. But when I came here, so it was cold as heck. We winter started for us in September, like just the week before October 1st, and
Yeah.
it didn't leave until June.
Oh yeah.
And we were knee deep in snow and 25 below and 30
Mhm.
below. Felt I was in Alaska, man. So when my
Mhm.
mom told us that we were coming to California, I was like, California? Are you sure? California? And she said, yeah, 365 days of sun, the beach 20 minutes away from you, the mountains 2 hours away from you, the desert 2 hours away from you. If you're an outdoor person, the best place in the world to be. And I was like, bring it on. I was the only one in the family that assimilated immediately. Everybody else took them about 5 years. I was in heaven. And so, no, to live, I could go back to New York in the city, but only like 3 4 months out of the year. I could do 3 or 4 months in DC, and I could probably do 3 or 4 months in Colorado or somewhere in the area where I used to ski. But
Right.
other than that, my hometown will be back here because this is just the nature of it. So just
Hey,
want you guys to
hey,
know that.
Edward Pratt said, "Hey, man, Germany's next. Let's go.
Yeah, that we're
We're
gonna
gonna
move
take
on
them
up the
down."
roster.
Man, this is amazing, man. I love what I'm seeing here, these records, these statistics, these numbers, because to me as a small business owner, an entrepreneur, a business coach and all of that, this is very promising for not only myself but also for the small businesses that we coach and we try to prepare for contract opportunities. As you guys know, guys, there's over $500 billion in procurement money out there for small businesses, but many small businesses don't even know about it. They don't even know it exists. So they don't
Hmm.
even bid these contracts. They don't go after these contracts. I want to make you guys more aware of this. And Edward, maybe you and Fernando can help us spread that news, spread that information so more and more small businesses can build up their wealth, build up their revenues, hire more people, and start participating in the economy the way they ought to, man. So let's go. Let's do it. Let's go, baby. Let's
And
go.
I have to tell you about Edward. So he's actually hello, Edward. Glad to have you, Fernando. Very happy that you're here today. So Edward is one of my clients with the Urban League, and I am so excited about him because we talk about our people getting into more different types of businesses, and so recently Edward is investing in a franchise business. And so he's working out all the details. And so hopefully this will be he will have a number of them over time. And so I actually would love to have him come on the Business Zone to talk about this experience of his. And he is just amazing. And he's a firefighter, and so he's using his time and investing in his communities and investing in himself and his family. So, Edward, I will be in May. We have is Business Month, National Business Month. So I'd love to have you come on and talk about the experience of acquiring your franchise, and maybe we can encourage some other businesses to do that. And that's buying instead of just. And it's fantastic to have your own, to come up with your wonderful own concept and give birth to that concept. But it's so much better when there's already something in place and all you do is like you buy an existing business. That is, you already know where the revenue is going to come from, and you don't you know where the customers are coming from, and so you don't have to start from scratch.
Well, Edward, we can help to push your business here on the Business Zone. We're on every week from 3 to 4:30 every Friday, and we have different guests at different times to speak about their business, their product, their services, how they're making a difference in communities. So you too could be a guest on this show, Edward. So if you want to come on this show and speak to us a little bit more about your program, what you're doing in terms of your franchise business and how other businesses can benefit from that. I'm sure you've got training, you've got classes that you do to get them up to speed. So we'd love to have you on this show, man. This is what this show was designed for. It was designed for small and micro businesses. We provide support to small and micro businesses in terms of contract readiness, business readiness, loan readiness, even nonprofit readiness and certification readiness. We get you guys to the point so you can go next level. You can bid on government contracts and try to tap into that $500 billion that I referenced earlier. We really want to get you guys to become successful because, as you know, you cannot get rich working for the man. You gotta you gotta generate your own source of revenue, guys. Be an entrepreneur. So that's what we push here on the Business Zone.
Awesome, awesome. So we're gonna before I jump into our topic, which our topic is today is how do we what is going on, what happens in the what if worst case scenario type of situations. So what we're gonna talk about today really isn't for the faint of heart. So you gotta take off your emotional hat I think, right now, and put on your logic hat. And yes, it's very scary what's going on in our country, but I think the more information you have, the more knowledge you have, the better decisions you make. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. And so our topic today is we're going to dive into what happens globally, um, and at home if the US economy were to crash. So it feels like that right now. And so we want to know if it's just a certain population, is it just a certain area, or is it truly and I personally think there was a big push years ago for the US and the entire world to become globally connected. And by us being globally connected, now, if something happens to one part of the connection, then the rest of the connections will also have some issues. And so that's kind of what we're going to talk about. So we're going to talk about it from Main Street USA or Front Street, all the way to the small factories in Asia, and a rippling effect that is real. And so that's what we're going to talk about. What we're going to talk about today, and which is what we did during the pandemic as well. How was the pandemic affecting us, and what did we need to do to prepare ourselves and to make sure we survive this? But in order for you to do that, you have to know what areas are going to be affected. But before we do that, guys, I read something this week from the Pew Research
Our co-host,
organization.
co-host,
Yes.
before you tell them a little bit about that report, can you tell them how to go ahead and follow us or subscribe on
Oh, I
YouTube
certainly
so
can.
we
I
can make
can.
sure we get that number up so we can continuously provide them more information every week. They can help use that to grow their business.
So you can go over to our YouTube channel, the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We are on every Friday afternoon at 3 o'clock. And we have an amazing wealth of information that we are providing for our business communities here in Los Angeles and actually around the world. If that's where a lot of people are hearing it as well. So you can go to our YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, or you can scan the QR code and it'll take you right there. Hit that QR code and hit the subscribe button. And then if you enjoy the show today, and we have an archive of other shows over there. If you love those, then please hit a like button and then share it with everyone else you know, and know that we're here and we've been here for 9 years. So we're not going anywhere. We're here. All righty. So before we get to our conversation, I just feel I need to share this, Gilbert, because everything we always hear about us as a people is always so negative. And so I'm going to take this report as a positive report. And this was all these numbers are as of the 2023. Miraculously, we have grown across the country. we used to be 14. We used to be 12% of the population. Now we've grown to 4.
Then we went up to 14.
We're now 14%.
All right.
We increased 33% since 2000. Now remember 2021 and 22. We were right smack dab in the middle of the pandemic. We lost a lot of people during that time, so I'm not quite sure what has happened here, but we have grown since 2000, and now we represent about 48.3 million people in the United States that identify as Black. And so I think
48.3 million.
yeah, so we got a voice. We got a voice.
Woo-wee.
And as I said, that 43 million have also consumed about $2 trillion. Maybe that's why it went up to 2 trillion, because we got an extra 33%. We also and this includes everyone that identifies as Black. There could be some Hispanics that are now embracing their Afro-Cubanness, their Afro-Latino-ness, and now they maybe have joined us as well. But that's fantastic news for us. So we're not a small part of this country. We have a big voice, and we should use our big voice. And most definitely, we should use that $2 trillion consumer power to be heard in this country. That's what we should be doing. So more than 4 in 10 African Americans are younger than 30, and about 43% between 30 and 64. About a quarter of African Americans are under the age of 18, and our fertility rate from 15 to 44 was 5.8 in 23, and women in this age group had a birth in the previous month, so that's good. We're growing. Our families, we have married couples, and that's another thing I have to tell you is that because everyone always thinks that our households are only held by women. They are not. 18 million of us are actually married couples. So that's 39% of our population are married couples. So if anybody ever tell you, come back with a negative that we don't have men in our household, that's not true. There are 14 million female householders, and there are 22 million male householders, and that's our number. So don't let anybody tell you that. We are highly educated in this day and age, and there's about 11% that have advanced degrees, 16% that are college graduates, and some 32 about some college, and then high school graduates. So again, I've heard over the years as I've been out here in the business world that we're not educated, that we don't go to college, and we definitely don't have advanced degrees. So that is not true. And I just wanted to share that with you guys. I will put this link in the description on our YouTube channel if you want to really go through it in detail. So before we got to the rest of the part, I just needed to know us to share in that information to know about us.
So this is from the Pew Report.
The Pew Research Report.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. You guys ready for the conversation? Gilbert, you ready for the conversation?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I've been ready since the beginning of this week. Every week we've got a similar message, but different message to deliver
Yeah.
to our people. So yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go, man. Let's go. We gotta make sure we inform as many people as possible because you never know. You never know.
You never know. Fernando says yes, a lot more are now Afro Latinos.
Yeah.
That's good. We welcome them to the group.
Yeah,
When
and
we
I'm very happy to learn that many of the Afro Latinos are really identifying as blacks as well because too often you're caught in no man's land because many of the systems don't recognize you as Latinos, and many other systems don't recognize you as blacks. So you're in no man's land. You're in the middle. You're going, hey, what am I? So I'm glad guys are doing that, and guys and girls, everyone, is doing that. So the numbers are out there for you and your small business, and it can help to bring awareness to your group.
Exactly. Now, when we merge the diaspora with us and those that are from the diaspora, we will be more than 14%, actually. But we'll get to that soon.
Quite frankly, I think we're at 20%, but hey, I'm just saying. I'm
You just saying you feel 20%.
Yeah, 20%, because think of how many people haven't claimed their black ethnicity. A lot of people have not.
That's true. That's
So,
very, very
so
true.
if they did claim it, I'm sure that number will go up. But when it comes to reparation, I'm sure they'll start registering their ethnicity as blacks. Can they go, oh, there's money involved? Okay, I'm black.
Okay,
Give
right,
me my
exactly.
check.
Yeah, you're right, exactly. So here we go, guys, and those that are watching us online, we welcome you. If you have something that you want to put in the chat,
Yeah.
we can actually read it. Yes, Edward, the family unit and claps. And yes, we got more power than we know. We just have to, and they know we have power. We just have to embrace the fact that we have power so we can use that power in order to grow and protect ourselves. So,
And folks, we're not just talking here on this podcast. We're both business coaches. You know, Crystal and I, we work with a lot of small businesses from all stripes. We help you to become business ready, contract ready, bank loan ready, nonprofit ready, so that you can go out there and tap into the opportunities, get yourself a contract to grow and strengthen your business. So, yes, guys, we're here to help you. We're here as a guide. We're not telling you anything that you're going to do by yourself. We're telling you because we're here to help you guys out.
exactly. So, the U.S. crash, and I personally believe, I mean, it's actually manufactured, so this is not something that just happened out of the clear blue sky. There's a lot of manipulation that's going on that's causing that, and so what triggers the tumble? So, I believe we are probably in the first 100 where we still are like probably 30 days from 100 days yet?
Yeah, we're still in the 100 days.
Yeah, okay. We still under the 100 days.
Yeah.
Okay. So in this one under the 100 days, obviously, we have seen a whole lot of political chaos and strife going on. We have seen uh tariffs just come up out of nowhere, and that rational or irrational reasons for tariff. If you guys had checked out our previous shows, uh, everyone at this point should know a tariff is a tax, and that the tariff is not going to generate revenue for this country. The tariff is going to generate revenue for the country of origin. And here, what it's going to do is generate an increase of cost of goods on pretty much everything that is out there. And so we have to figure out how we navigate around that as small business owners, what we need to do, how we need to increase our prices. Uh, and we're going to give you some other choices down the line, some diversity of revenue streams. And I talk about this all the time. You have to look at different ways. Everyone should already have this, regardless of what we're going through now or not. Should have multiple revenue streams coming into your household. So if something happens with one, you're not put out of service. You can actually divert to another one. And one of my closest friends, Dr. Rosie Milligan, she says she has 12 different revenue streams that come in. And for every large liability she has a revenue stream that is dedicated to that liability stream. So that's how she does it. Also, some things that are going on are uh, we have the pushback on, and the our constitution is in danger. We have deportations going on. We have travel bans going on. You name it, the whole kitchen sink then pretty much come at us. And so and so that is what we're dealing with. And so what we're seeing now is a lot of layoffs in some areas across the country. They're going to have GDP slowdowns, because in the agricultural areas, obviously without manpower, you can't produce. And then we are becoming persona non gravis to the entire world when it comes to the tariffs. And so we're going to look at it and see how it's going to affect us personally in our own businesses, and where we need to go from there. So Gilbert, we're going to talk about the cities first, and we're going to let Gilbert do that one on which cities will collapse first if the economy tanks. And this is just the worst case scenario. It's not to say that it is going to happen, if it is, we have to have a plan.
Well, let me go by this list that we have because I don't want to misrepresent because I know I have my information, my data, and what I think it is. But
Hmm.
based on our research, it said the first city that could collapse under this crazy tariff and burdensome economic operation would be the state of Nevada. The state of Nevada, it says the total economic impact on tourism in southern Nevada, it reached 85.2 billion, and that was in 2023. So you figure you're getting 85.2 billion from tourism in the state of Nevada. And now we're talking about tariffs where people are getting nervous. They don't want to do business anymore. They don't want to come travel your country and spend time there and spend money. Then that's going to impact that 85.2 billion. So that's how the state of Nevada is looking. They're saying visitors spent in Las Vegas at least $51.5 billion for the year.
In 2023.
So that's just an amazing thing to think about. Now the question is why? Why do we think that is it's going to happen that way? Well, because the state rely on tourism. It's a hospitality type marketplace, and it also uh, has a high uh, I should say, high volume rate of entertainment going on in the state of Nevada, then those things contribute primarily to their revenue, their GDP, and their annual intake. Now, when people tighten their wallets, the casinos and other places, they will suffer. They'll go, well, what's going on here? How come you guys are not visiting anymore? How come you guys are not coming and losing your money to us anymore? That's the kind of thing that's going to happen if the state of Nevada get impacted from tourism and hospitality.
And they just, you guys got to put it in perspective. Just 3 years ago, they had most of our businesses and most of our country is recovering from the pandemic. And so again, during the pandemic, there was it was a shutdown, so no one was going to Vegas to do anything because you couldn't. Everybody was in the pandemic mode, and so that's they just barely had enough time to recover.
And I forgot to add this. This is more on a global level, though, on a national level. But the airline will also suffer because if people are not traveling, going on vacation, then they don't have seats to sell. They don't have seats to sell. They're not making the kind of revenue that they need. So I was doing some research the other day, co-host, and I
Mhm.
found out that a Southwest airline, for
Mhm.
it to fly from point A to point B. So let's say it's going to travel from Las Vegas to New York. It costs that company it costs them 57 what is 57 million 57 million in fees.
Mhm.
You see what I'm saying? Just for that flight. So that is unbelievable. That is unbelievable to me that, and that's why they load up those planes so much. They fill it from front to back. They got
They
30.
feel it from front to back,
Yeah.
and also they um they too took a major hit during the pandemic.
Hmm.
And when they were trying to make up. That's why we packed in there like sardines.
Yeah.
They were trying to make up, and they also in that time frame lost a lot of pilots. They did some had some retirement packages because they weren't flying that much. They gave them some the golden, what is it, the golden watch, and
Golden
so
parachute.
the parachutes. And so part of that is there are not a lot of people one, we haven't had a military need for the draft system, which is usually where pilots come from the Air Force. And so a lot of people are not going into the military today, and
Mhm.
nor are and you don't have a lot of individuals that have become pilots because it's kind of costly unless you are in the military. And so they're having a hard time replacing the older staff.
Mhm. Yep. Definitely.
And if anybody's flown American lately, boy, those are the oldest flight attendants I've ever seen in my life. They need to retire too, and they're grumpy and they're mean, and but there's no new ones, so they got to keep the old ones. So there you go. That's my own personal opinion. That's not the airlines at all. That's just my observation when I've been flying American.
I hear it. So what's number 2? What's the number 2
So number
state?
2 is Florida, and we would think that because Florida is like California, right? Weather is balmy. It's like the Caribbean. It's a what is it? Tropical state. It generates about $128 billion in economic impact. The number of domestic visitors to Florida is 116 billion, and they have about 15 billion international um, visitors because you got Disney World. You have, I mean, it's a tourist place. The weather is beautiful, and yeah, the golden handshake. Thank you, Edward. Uh, it's just a beautiful place if you like, if you want sun and fun. Yeah, South Beach is one of my favorite places. Haven't been there in a while, but yeah. So they have also um, and their powerful why is because of tourism. It's a hot spot, and also a number of um, individuals that retire from the north actually find themselves relocated to Florida. And now Florida's got some other issues besides that. It actually has to be the hotbed of all of the political chaos because the president actually is housed down there. And so they have embraced him and
Mhm.
all the stuff that he's been doing for many, many years now. And so there are people that, if it's kind of uncomfortable to be down there if you're not a full on um, follower of him.
Mhm.
And plus their real estate market is booming and very
Mhm.
vulnerable like anywhere else. When there are a lot of people move to a state, the real estate market picks up, and the more supply, the less supply, the more demand, and the costs go up. And
Mhm.
so their real estate market is going to take a hit more likely. We have a lot of wealthy people that live in Florida because I hear that they have some amazing tax benefits that, and they have, I think, some of the best. Um, what are the when you pass on your state,
In
they don't have
inheritance?
the inheritance tax. I think is very, very low there, which is why so many very wealthy people live in Florida right now, is because of the benefits that they get from not having to pay taxes on their inheritance, on their children, when their children inherit their property. And they tend to swing high in good times and they crash hard in bad times. So that is the state of Florida, and it's going to be hit hard for many reasons. Begin because a lot of the political it's a political hotbed as well.
I wanna do a little clarification on the data that I presented earlier, cost of flying a
Hmm.
a plane, like
Okay.
a Boeing 737 Airbus, right? So, it states here that, the flight distance, say, from LA to New York is about 2,400 miles, right? That's about
Hmm.
5 to 6 hours. In maintenance costs, it's about 1,200 to 2,000 per hour.
Hmm.
Maintenance costs.
Hmm.
1,200 to 2,000 per hour, right? And then and that's just one way. So the total maintenance cost is about 6,000 to 12,000 per hour. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to put that out there so people kind of have an idea. And that's a big reason why you notice many of these airlines are just loading up and packing it up, because they sell their tickets for whatever they sell it for. I don't know, but they try to get back as much as they can out of it, and that's why you see them. They'll have 5 and 6 flight from New York to LA, or from LA to New York, or to Atlanta, so that's what they're trying to do to recoup those costs. So I often wonder how much these airlines make, because they sell the tickets so expensive. Now they're charging you to you take anything and the carry-ons, you pay for that. You're paying for anything. Those peanuts you used to get before, you don't get them anymore. Now you got to pay for it. So
You almost pay for the air that you breathe on a plane. But yes,
exactly.
they charge, and then if they late, and which is most often these
Yes,
days, they
yes.
also get charged for leaving the gates late, because it then throws off all the other flights and connector flights. It's a madhouse out there. It hasn't been right in a very, very long time, and I think also they don't necessarily have the best leaders. Um, in that's running the airports nowadays. I think that's
And
some of it.
and since 2020, the pandemic, those prices really went up. So can you imagine now that the economy is teetering on a possible economic crash again? And they're talking about tariffs and all those types of things. It make these airlines nervous, because they're thinking, well, people are not going to fly much anymore. People used to travel for business meetings. People travel from LA to San Francisco, or places
Mhm.
like those. People are not doing it anymore, because they're going, why even go? We're not even sure if when we go there, our products will be shipped and delivered. So we
Yeah.
can have discussions about it. So yeah, it's an amazing thing. So state number 2
3.
that could be impacted, you said, was Florida, right?
Mhm.
So now we're on state number 3 that could be impacted by this economic crash, and as a result of the tariffs we're hearing about. So state number 3 is California, and some of the areas that could be heavily hit would be Los Angeles, San Francisco. You have Silicon Valley, and those could be hit by the tourism. We have amazing tourism here, state of California, and that's just the major ones. We're not even talking about San Diego, because that's a tourist spot as well.
Exactly. Mhm.
Yeah, you see what I mean? So, and we're even talk about Hollywood. We got Hollywood, some of these other parts. So those are areas that can be hit heavily, and those areas contribute to $150.4 billion in travel spending, and that was recorded back in 2023. Now, that exceeded the previous year's record by 144. The record was 144.9 billion. So it went up about 5.1, I should say 5 point yeah, yeah, yeah,
About,
5
yeah.
5.5 billion.
Mhm.
5.5 billion it went up. So those are some of the things that could be looked at, could be examined. So the the powers to be who are playing games with our economic life, is to let them know that, hey, we're losing here, and to recover from these losses, it really takes a while, because the 2020 pandemic that we have is now 2025. We have most economies, right, and organizations still have not recovered fully
Mm-mm.
from that beating that we got.
Mhm.
So the government needs to start paying attention to these things. And I think one of the things that California is thinking about, that, hey, if these other areas are going to have tariffs on them, then maybe we will find some nations that there's no tariff on, and then we'll do business there in an effort to increase our GDP. So these are things that need to be looked at.
And actually, Governor Newsom has actually reached out to China on his own to say, just come directly to us. we don't
Yeah,
need to go. We don't need to go through all that other stuff. Let's just make a
exactly.
deal directly with us. Because one of the other things I've read is that um, California is, as well as the one of the largest manufacturing states in the country. So
Yep.
we do a lot of manufacturing right here, whereas other states have to build and establish something like that. We already have it here. So
And we do a lot of construction too. We do a lot of building. We build
yeah,
schools, we build colleges, or we renovate them, but it still costs money because when we renovate the old buildings, now what we do is we renovate them into with green technology. That costs money. So you have to get the materials from somewhere, and that somewhere a lot of the times is in a foreign country. And because of tariffs, they put these tariffs on the price of the materials. So now the construction costs will be halted, so that's going to slow down the economy. It's just a mess. And you would think that, these are folks who are in a higher power and they would understand this, but maybe many of them do not understand economics. The gig economy is another one that's going to be hit, from these crashes if it should happen. Layoffs. We're gonna have multiple layoffs, which will hit Hollywood and a lot of other places. It's just unbelievable. And we know this co-host that, and we've known this from studies and also from real life experience that whenever an economic downturn where
hmm
um, we have a crash, it affects homelessness or impacts homelessness because if you can't pay your mortgage or your rent, what's going to happen to
you're
you?
gonna
Now you
find
become
yourself.
homeless.
Yeah, you can find, and we already have that issue
Yes.
now. The better thing about Los Angeles, Los Angeles is in 2026, which is next year, we have the World Cup coming, and
Hmm.
in 2028, I think in 27 or I
28,
think
we have the Olympics.
we have the Olympics, but in between that, we also have the All-Star game coming here, and
Yes,
we have
NBA
the
All-Star.
Super Bowl game coming, Super Bowl back here. So what does that do for us? What that does for us is we can recover much faster than anybody else because the Olympics alone, um, if everyone does what they need to do and are ready, and I'm going to say that is contract readiness here,
Yeah,
then everyone can get a piece of that Olympics. Because one of the best things about us being the Olympic host is we don't have to build anything.
right.
We have 3 stadiums, we have two
Oh,
football stadiums,
yeah.
um, we have baseball
We got
stadium.
universities that we could use. We got the Rose Bowl. We got USC that we could use. Even UCLA. We could use
Yeah,
those facilities.
UCLA is actually going to be Westwood is going to be the village, so we don't have to build anything. So
Right.
where most countries that are the hosts for the Olympics, they got to spend a lot of that money, which
Yeah.
means there will be a lot of money that is on the table for those of us that have businesses that are ready, and we can meet the needs. And you guys really need to uh uh, uh, follow
Get get
LA 28 so you'll know
sharp.
what they're looking for.
Yeah.
You need to join. You need to sign up at Ramp LA in the city of Los Angeles because everything. If you're looking to be a contractor to be part of the Olympics and any of those activities that are going on, you need to be registered with the city of Los Angeles on Ramp LA. Is it rampla.org?
Yeah, ramp. I think it's ramp.org. Yeah,
Dot,
ramp.org.
dot
But
org.
you can just go to Google and type RAMP, all uppercase, and then put City of LA, and the site will come up. Another thing that I wanted to put out there in conjunction to what you're saying, co-host, as you know, with Olympics and other enterprises like those, there's a lot of industries involved. You've got the entertainment, you got hospitality, so a lot of food service people are in food service. You know, if you sell whatever you sell, if you have a taco truck or whatever it is, you guys need to start getting yourself ready. And when I say ready, I mean making sure you have your documentation, you have your paperwork in order, your vehicles are tuned and ready to go. It can pass inspection. If you're cooking in a truck, you want to make sure there's no mice, no rats, no insects, no infestation or anything, because you cleanse the place and you clean it out properly. If you have a food handler's permit from the county, they're going to be telling you those things anyway. So you got to make sure everything is safe, because you want to increase your ability to generate more revenue. The cleaner and the more attractive you are, the more consumers or customers will come your way. So keep that in mind. So that's the hospitality food business. Now, PepsiCo is going to get involved in this again, just like they did with the Super Bowl here in LA. So they're going to be giving out scholarships to small businesses. So again, you guys want to be ready. And those are grants that they give out. Okay. So you want to be ready, guys. You would need to know what your NAICS codes are. When I was with the Los Angeles Urban League, and we were trying to identify vendors, food vendors that we could recommend to PepsiCo so that they can be a part of the festivities. Many small businesses did not know their NAICS code. Guys, you need to know your NAICS codes. If you don't know it, go to my website at thebuchannangroup.net, and then you click on one of the tabs that says contact resources, and you will be able just put a description of what you do. You'll get your NAICS codes. That's all you need to do. If you don't know how to do it, I'll put my phone number or my email in the chat, and you guys can reach out to us and we'll be able to help you out. But this should be a win for all of you small business, not just some, all of you, because the budget for the Olympic is $5 billion. 5 billion. You want to tell me that you guys can't use some of that money to grow your business?
So
You
in
know?
addition, exactly, and in addition to the food, is going to be logistics and transportation.
Yep. Yep.
Mayor Bias is
Say
promising
that
a
again. Say that again, please, co-host.
log-
Say that again.
logistics and transportation. Mayor Bass has promised a no car access to the games, so everything is going to be public transportation that will be able to access the venues, with cities borrowing buses from across the country and encouraging businesses to allow remote work. They're going to be looking for supplemental bus systems. They're going to be looking for so if you are in the logistics transportation business,
Mhm.
you need to make sure you are involved, because they need to be able to move people from place to place without having congestion on the freeways and on the streets of Los Angeles, ensuring that everyone gets to where everyone needs to get to. The
Let,
other
let,
part.
let me just break that down for them, co-host, a second. I want
Mhm.
to break that. What my co-host is saying is very critical, and I really want you guys to pay attention to this. She said the logistics business is going to be a bit in big high demand when it comes to these Olympics, right? Now you're probably wondering, how am I going to be able to help in that? Well, first thing you want to think about, if you have one of those cargo transportation vans that can transport 15 people or even more, you would be a great candidate to participate in that, because you can transport people from point A, point B, or point A to point D. Keep that in mind. So if you have a 15 seater or above, you can be one of the eligible businesses that's participating in transporting folks. Because remember, when they come to the Olympics, they're not coming with their vehicle or anything like that. And most of those people are not going to be taking Uber all the time. they're going to want to have someone and establish. And my co-host will give you an example of somebody she met at the airport that did something like that, and it was very lucrative for her. I mean, for him. But you guys, the hospitality mentality, you want to have that. You want to be nice and courteous to these guests. You're representing LA, you're representing the US, you're representing your company. So you want to go out there, transport people. Hey, you build a relationship, become their personal uh transport throughout the time they're here for the Olympics, so then you're getting that kind of money. So those are contracts, guys, that you can tap into. But my co-host, she met a young man at the airport who had a vehicle like that, and he did that kind of service, and she was very happy to utilize his service without having to wait for the Uber or
You
something
can be
like
your
that.
own self Uber. That's what he was. He was
Yeah,
standing there at the transportation, and now that we have the new the mobile car or the people mover that's coming, you can just be there and you have a nice vehicle, and you can pick up people as well. So that's going to be that. Also, our communications marketing, digital marketing people that are out there, communication is going to be really important to be able to do outreach to all of our guests.
hmm
If you are bilingual or multilingual, you
that's
are
even
you
better.
you need to be all up in this, because we're going to have people coming from all over the world. And so if you can communicate in multiple languages and be able to do outreach, be translators, being whatever it is, at this point you need to be thinking creatively. And
Yeah,
we're 3 years out, and this is that time. We also have the Paralympics is coming as well.
yeah,
So there's a lot of opportunity. So California actually, uh, we may be hit with all of this, but I think we're going to be okay because of the fact with all of the activities that are coming, and that is in addition to the fact that yes, we have housing problems and instability and homelessness, but at the same time, we have some opportunities that could work on in our betterment. We just as people need to be ready so that you don't get left out. There's going to be billions. I do know, Gilbert, that uh, when the Olympics were here I believe that was in the 80s,
yeah.
they still have millions of dollars left.
See, that's what I'm talking
And
about,
that's
man.
that's been a number of years ago. So and that's going to be the same thing. So it will actually position our state for the future. So that's that one. The next one is obviously New York. So New York is just like Los Angeles. It's a metropolitan. It has a lot of people traveling to New York for shows, for meetings, for conferences, and so there direct visitors are usually spending impact is about 88 billion, and but they on a whole they generate about 137 billion from the economy and tourism, and they also get additional monies, 11 billion in state and local revenues from the hotel and the hospitality industry, because their hotel rates and fees and all those things, they are huge, and so that's how they make their money. So if people are not traveling a lot, then that's going to be the problem with in that area. And Wall Street is there, so we know that Wall Street is being hit hard right now, and um, because that's where the stock market is, that's where the business community is, and just to get a idea of what that looks like for New York, just remember back to 9/11, when there was the Twin Towers fell. So you will have an idea of what that looks like for New York, because that's what New York went through back there during 2011.
I put my contact information in the chat, guys. So my phone number, my email address is there if you need to reach out. and get a better understanding of how you can participate, how you can become ready. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna start hosting some workshops on readiness, how you guys can become business ready, contract ready, loan ready as well, so you can participate. So if you want to be a part of this, just make sure you put your contact information in the chat, like an email, your name, that type of thing, so I can send you guys materials inviting you to these workshops. So you will learn, even if you don't know how to register in the ramp system, just send me an email. I'll teach a workshop on that, teach you guys how to register in ramp, teach you how to get your business ready, because that's really what we're doing right now. Just think about it. If you're not at the table eating some of this amazing opportunities, guess what's going to happen? Tell them, co-host. Tell them what's
If
going
you
to
not
happen if
sit,
you're
if
not.
you don't have a chair at the table, you're gonna be on the menu. That's what's gonna happen to you. So I'm just telling y'all, um, get there, be ready. That's all I'm gonna tell you. Don't miss out on this one because this doesn't come around every year.
So you talked about New York. So the next one is Chicago. Is that it?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So Illinois is the next state that could be impacted severely by this pending crash that these tariffs talk and all of this stuff could affect. The city of Chicago, there's another big tourism mecca, just like New York and California. So their expenditure that they receive, on an annual basis, it has now reached a new high of 19.2 billion, and that was in 2023. Now, uh, they've seen up to 51.96 million in tourist arrival and tourist visits to their city. So think about 51 million people coming to your city. Just think about that for a second. 51 million. So 51 million, let's see what country has 51 million people. So I think Africa. Let me see which one of those countries in Africa that has that population. Uh, let's see.
Well, don't we have 44? What do we have here in California?
In California, we have 40 million.
Okay, so
So
that's a little
so
bit
so
more.
just a little more than what we have here. So that is just unbelievable, man. Unbelievable.
Yeah. So and Chicago is a place. I mean, if you've been out traveling, if it's a spot for tourism. But then Chicago also has, that's really smack dab in the middle of the Midwest, right?
Yeah.
And so there are a lot of communities that are just regular working, blue collar working people. And so they're going to be hit, I think, really hard because a lot of the manufacturing is done in that city.
Mhm.
And which means a lot of the tariffs, that's where the car industries are, right?
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
just heard Ford is leaving. Ford is leaving the United States.
Oh Lord. Oh Lord.
So they're
See,
going, I
that
don't know
that's
where they're
a hit.
going, but
That's
they're
a hit.
leaving.
That's a
Hmm?
hit to our GDP right there.
Yeah,
That's
Ford
a
is
hit.
leaving. And so
Unbelievable.
the car companies, I think Chrysler is there. There are a number of car manufacturers that are in the Midwest and in the Chicago, Illinois area. And
So
so that's going to be a problem because the tariffs are going to directly affect that area.
So we're looking at what countries have about 51 million people, right? So here is South Korea, 51.6 million people, just like it is the same number of visitors to Chicago in the tourism industry every year.
Mm.
51.6 million. So think about if everybody from South Korea came to Chicago in one year to visit. That's what type of revenue stream and GDP we're talking about. So that's going to be strained if this crazy tariff conversation keeps going on, where there's not an understanding as to how um, uh, they want to come to a common understanding, the US and all these other nations, because then we don't want it to impact our economy, our people. People are going to be out of work. I mean, come on. So we just want to build the awareness and let folks know about what's going on in terms of if the economy should crash. Now, I also want to put it out there that, the city is also under pressure right now. It has a pension debt, you know. That's the city of Chicago we're talking about.
Hmm.
They have a pension debt. They're not able to, maintain a balanced budget when it comes to those types of expenditures. They've got high taxes. The crime is outrageous. And, it's really walking down the path of recession right now. So this may be that one situation that wipes out that particular state, Illinois, and the city itself, Chicago. So folks, you may want to think about this. And we have some recession proof businesses that my co-host and I are going to talk about as to how you can try to weather this type of storm should the economy crash. So,
Exactly. Another company that was in Illinois that is leaving and they're going to Mexico is John Deere.
oh Lord. See, they don't understand that John Deere is a big economic income generator, because John Deere, they use that out there on farmlands. You see what I'm saying? Many of these countries, like the Asian countries, they thrive in farming, so they're going to need the John Deere equipment and machineries.
And that's
So,
even for our farm, our agricultural
well,
in Illinois, Wisconsin,
right,
um, Oklahoma, Montana, all those in
yeah,
South Dakota, North Dakota,
right,
those that's what services those areas
yeah,
is because that's where the agricultural or farming or cattle country is in that area. So the tariffs is going to kill them. They need parts and things like that, and they're
yeah,
just moving. And so when we think it's just happening here, and I always and people keep saying, okay, well, if America, it's going to fall, it's going to fall. And I keep hearing it's like, but it can't fall because there's too many people, too many companies.
relying,
There are too
relying on,
many corporations. We may have a little bitty tiny voice, guys, but
yeah,
corporations that are making billions of dollars, wealthy
yeah,
families that have been in the United States since the beginning of time, they're
hmm,
not leaving.
right.
And one thing I know about rich people, and I know this about poor people too.
They don't like to part with their money.
Yep. When my bank account gets kind of crazy and the dollars, the zeros start to diminish,
When
I
your
get an
money start getting
attitude.
funny.
So that's on my little bitty old money. Just imagine if you were a billionaire and all of a sudden you saw like what happened with the stock market the other
Yeah.
day. $10 trillion just left. I think you might get a little bit of an attitude, and it's time to speak up and
Yeah.
not bend the knee. So I have a feeling that this domino effect is going to be the domino. When that domino turns over, that's a done deal for the man in the New York in the White House, because none of you guys, I challenge anyone that's listening to us right now. I challenge you, if someone taking money out of your pocket, what type of attitude do you have? Now, my co-host here, he don't do too well when people don't even pay him on time.
I don't do well when people don't pay me. You and I may be friends, but you and my money are not friends. So we're gonna have a problem, and I'll be the first to take it to court. I'll be the first. I'm not playing.
So he don't. So now that's him on his level. Just imagine being a multi-billion dollar company, and someone is
Messing with
manufacturing,
the money.
messing and manufacturing this loss. This didn't have to happen. We had an ample economy before, and so but it's going to hurt in the meantime while we're waiting for them to that last domino to turn over for them. There are just some American communities that's going to get hit the hardest, and some of the definitely the urban and rural is going to have major impact. Minorities, oh my God, when America gets a cold, we have like bubonic plague,
We
and
get
so
pneumonia.
we have bubonic plague. It's not even pneumonia. We passed that. We have triple pneumonia. That's what we have. And
my
so
my co-host said, when our money sneezed, the world's wallet gets pneumonia.
right. So we have to understand that there are going to be industries that are, and we haven't felt it yet because he's the back and forth with the tariffs, but we can't wait until it happens.
No, we're
What
not gonna wait. We gotta take
we have to be prepared.
proactive actions. Yes.
Right. So for proactive actions and solutions to this, I know we didn't paint it an ugly picture earlier than this, but what we want you to do is you have to now recession proof yourselves. You
Yeah.
have to look at your business, and we don't have to go far back. Really,
No,
truly. It's not
no.
like before the pandemic. Just go back to 2020
Right.
and replicate what you did then in order to stay alive,
Right.
right? You generated other revenue streams. People became pirouetting ballerinas because they figured out how to pivot in a space that wasn't going to be affected. So if retail is going to be affected, hospitality is going to be affected, real estate is going to be affected. There are other industries. There are digital industries, like Gilbert just said, having classes, selling things online. Take your business off of whatever and go online.
Yeah.
Because if things are not coming now, I don't know. You'll have to do your research if you're pulling things from if you're pulling um, products that have to come from China, you probably have to, or any other country, look at the other countries that don't, there are no tariffs on them. As Gilbert, we've been saying this for the last couple of weeks. Vietnam, there's a number of other countries that are out there that are not going to be affected. So you're going to have to find some new manufacturers. Also, look in our country for manufacturers and see, it may cost you a little bit more money, but maybe you can do some you can be creative, meaning instead of putting the box together, send the box to them unassembled,
You
right?
know what? You know what I'm thinking, co-host. Maybe this would make things a little easier for some of the entrepreneurs out there. Get their mind thinking a certain way. They might be conducting business in the US a certain way right now. Maybe
Hmm.
maybe it's B2C, business to consumer, or maybe they're doing B2B, business to business. But just imagine this for a second. What if you were no longer allowed to do business in the United States? You were not allowed to sell another product or another service here in the United States. How would you flourish? How would you get over that? How would you benefit? How would you think about that? Because many of us need to start selling our products and services to other consumers in other lands, foreign lands. Think of, because there are consumers who need what you have. You just
Hmm.
need to get it to them. So now you might be able to using the online features more rampantly.
Hmm.
So you might want to start getting people who know about online marketing to team up with those folks. Take a few classes from them learn how to sell your product online, and get it in those areas that's not highly hit with tariffs. So,
Exactly.
I just wanted to put that out there, man, because sometimes we get complacent, sometimes we get too comfortable. I want entrepreneurs to be uncomfortable. I want you guys to be very uncomfortable right now. And I mean, we're sharing this information for a reason, because we want you to know what's coming down the pike. We're not
Right.
trying to be gloom
Doom
and
and
doom.
gloom.
You know, we're trying to put some things out there so you can see it and try to evade what's coming down the pike, so you can still grow your business, still keep your employees, still take care of your family.
Exactly. So, yeah, expanding and challenging yourself to do your research. There's so many tools out there for you to do your research, find out on how you can diversify your revenue stream. No one should be having one revenue stream. And if we didn't learn anything from the pandemic and the economy that resulted of that, that's what you should know. You
Tell
cannot.
tell them how many revenue streams they should have, co-host.
Well,
At
I
least,
at
at least.
least you should at least have 7 different revenue streams that are, and I don't mean revenue streams where you selling a toy and then you turn around and sell a comic book. No, that's the same area. I'm talking about diverse revenue streams that are not dependent on the other revenue stream, and also on whatever you need in order to do that. So you got to really stop and think, and think about how a recession is going to affect your business, and what are some solutions, and use every tool that's out there to help you do that. Also in your household, take advantage at the present moment of any of the nonprofits in your area, the organizations that provide technical assistance services. They do not cost you any money. There are many of them out there. There's the Los Angeles Urban League. You can Google them. There is Vermont Slauson Economic Development Center. There is Pacific Coast Regional Center. There is PACE, which is the Pan. What is it? The
Uh,
Pan
uh,
Asian.
Pan Asian, yeah, Pan
Yeah,
Asian.
community. There's them. There is GLAC, which is a chamber of commerce. There is just a multitude. There's the organizations that are out there. In the Valley, they have the Valley Economic Center. The new Women's Business Center is out there. Other states, I'm not sure what you guys have. I know there's Urban League in 19 different cities across the country. And they have an entrepreneurial center out there, entrepreneurial department. Um, and they have workshops and cohorts, and it doesn't cost you a dime. Take advantage. What it is your tax dollars. Take advantage of them. If you have some concerns, reach out to those organizations and see if they can assist you. They usually have a team of consultants that can, and coaches and counselors. Gilbert and I are both coaches and counselors for some of these organizations, and take advantage of it, because this is the time to think about you. Maybe you need help thinking about how to diversify your revenue streams. The next thing is strengthening your customer relationships, because if you have to increase your costs because it's going to cost you more money to produce your product, then you want to make sure that you are providing excellent service to your customers, that you're keeping them informed, be honest and transparent with them. If they've been a long time customer with you, they will understand what's going on. And then Gilbert, the other one is the operational, and I know this is your space, operational efficiencies.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And
So
again, we can teach classes on those for you guys. If you're not so sure and you want to get to that level, we'll teach classes.
exactly. And then the final is just guys, you got to adapt to the change. So, which means is stay informed so you know what's going on. I wouldn't necessarily stay on the news all the time because it's going to make you crazy.
Yeah.
And so don't do that. You take some breaks, take care of self. Just do your own specific research for what you need to make sure you're prepared to adjust to whatever you need to adjust to, and have contingency plans and business strategies, because that's very, very important right now. Just being prepared. So yeah, so don't stay on the news all the time, because there's some things there that will just make you too angry. And then as Black people, we have to be very careful with some of the news that's coming to us, because some of that news is designed to anger us, so that we will get out there and protest and
And
for
distract us.
right. And any one of us that are Black folks in business, not in business, whatever, we need to not be out there right now. We will not be safe out there. And so there's no need of adding more drama to already existing drama. So just if it angers you, turn your phone off, to get off of social media and go watch an old movie. That's what they tell. I was reading something today, Gilbert, that says that go watch an old movie from back in the day, where you don't see all the violence, and it just, like I don't know, something Claudine or something that don't piss you off, that is like, oh yeah, lilies of the valley. Go look at something that just, I myself, for my peace of mind, when it gets too much, I like foreign movies. So I do my Korean dramas, and I have to read subtitles, and it takes my mind all off of all dramas. I look at African movies, I look at French movies, Spanish movies, and then I can come back and I can look at life a little more rational.
And then you'll be able to appreciate it then.
Right, exactly. But that's
So we got 4 minutes to go, co-host, in this segment. So did you want us to do the 10 recession proof business next week?
yeah.
So we'll have more time to discuss, and people can, type in or call in.
Yes. So next week, that's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to talk about what kind of recession-proof business you can actually have. Um, I'm in the accounting business because of that. Because in 2008, we had a major recession, or 2007, whenever that was. And I went into the accounting field, because as long as there are businesses, somebody gonna need some bookkeeping, and that's my recession-proof business. If I can't get no other work, I know I can get that work. And so maybe you guys have a recession-proof business as well. And we're going to talk about some of those next week. So,
Yeah, we'll definitely do that.
yeah. So we want to wish you guys have a wonderful weekend. We still have another week in this month. Next week actually is my birthday. So I'm going to embrace May differently than some of these others. In fact, next Thursday is actually my birthday. But May is going to bring some we're going to be heading through the summer. I get to garden and plant my summer fruits and vegetables. I'm excited. And so with that, guys, we want to find some hobbies during this time. And thinking of, okay, Fernando says he's thinking of a cleaning service.
Oh, that's definitely a good recession proof one, because
Yeah,
people
that's a
always need cleaning services.
yeah, good, Fernando.
That's a good one, man.
Yeah. Yeah, and these are the businesses that people need regardless of what's going on in the
Yeah.
world.
And
So yeah.
and another good thing about the cleaning business, you get a contract with the county, the city, or any of those government departments, you're good. You're good, because you're gonna have ongoing contracts. They're gonna have multiple different departments for you to clean, maybe weekly or every other week. So, that's definitely a good business, man. Good call.
Yeah, that's a very good call. All right, everyone. We will see you guys next Friday at 3 o'clock. Stay tuned and tell a friend. And you can go over to our to our YouTube channel, and you can hit that subscribe button, and you can go back and review. I will put the Pew Research information in the description on YouTube, and you can check that out as well.
Yeah.
It was actually I felt elated when I was reading that about our people, and we have to be
Finally,
the
there's some growth in our sector.
right, and we have to be the one to elevate us. We can't expect anybody else to do that. They don't want to do that
That's
anyway.
right.
So we have to be the one that celebrates all of our triumphs.
All right. So we'll see you
All
guys
righty.
next week. And again, tune into the Business Zone with Crystal and Gilbert. We're on every Friday from 3 to 4:30, and we talk about subjects like these and others. And if you want to reach out to us, it's Gilbert at the BuchananGroup.net. And co-host, what's
You
yours?
can reach me at you can reach me at Crystal Mitchell Business Solutions, or you can just go online. I'm always online. So you can go to my Facebook page, you can go to my LinkedIn page, you can go to my TikTok page, you can go to my IG page. Not as fluent on IG, but Facebook page, you can just and if you can't find me there, then on my page, you can go to the Business Zone page, or you can go to the Recycling Black Dollars page, or you can go to the community briefing. I am on social media, so y'all can
All
find
right.
me anywhere
Yeah.
online.
Sounds good, guys. So we'll definitely see you next week. I hope the information we passed out today was helpful in some kind of way, and you're going to implement some of it into your business operating plan so you can make that skrilla, that money.
Right, exactly. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Have a great weekend.
All righty now.
As a small biz pro, so we roll, using procurement, program, and control. As a small biz pro, so we grow, using procurement, program, and control. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur.